After recording LA Woman, Jim decided that he was going to go over to Paris with his on and off again girlfriend Pamela Corson. And I know that when LA Woman was released, he was in Paris, France, and he would talk to the other guys in the group by phone and say they would catch up with each other. And when he heard that the album was doing well, Jim was very happy to hear that. And they talked about going on tour for the album, maybe even expanding the band, adding a bassist, some other musicians. According to Ray, after LA Woman, they found out that they had fulfilled their contract with Elektra Records and that they could decide to go to another label or renew their contract with Elektra. At the same time, Jim was also trying to escape some legal troubles from an incident in 1969 where Jim allegedly exposed himself. When everybody in the group says that he didn't, I don't think he did, but according to a bunch of other people, he did it. Then come July 3rd, 1971, Jim Morrison dies. According to Ray, he just got a phone call from someone, I can't remember the name, the person. He just gets a phone call and is told that Jim Morrison died. And Ray didn't believe it. It just seemed that everybody was dying, and that there was another time before that where they had heard that he had passed, and it turned out it was just a rumor. There are all these, so Ray just thought it was another rumor. So just sort of kept on the back burner, just said, okay, give me more details. Then the next time Ray is called, he's told that Jim was buried. To this day, nobody knows how Jim Morrison died. People have their theories. What we do know is that Jim did go out for that night. I think he was also hanging out with one of his UCLA friends. And he was hanging out with Pam as well. And I think what happened, he got up at the middle of the night, started coughing up blood, and he had done that the day before. He had done that earlier in the day, I guess July 2nd. And whatever happened next, Pamela found Jim in the bathtub dead. And no autopsy was performed on Jim Morrison. So people can go ahead and come up with their own theories of how he died, or think that he's still alive and faked his death. Without Jim, the Doors recorded 2 more albums, which I'm going to show at the same time, and you'll see why. Those albums were 1971's Other Voices, and the other 1972's Full Circle. Now, they released these 2 albums. They did go on tour. In 1973, they just came to an end. Now, I think they were also trying to find a lead singer around that time in 1973. I think they decided that they needed another guy in the group. And I think they may have had some disagreements as to who to have replace Jim. The names I've heard, Paul Rogers has revealed that he was asked to come in and audition. I think Pop was another one. But they couldn't come to an agreement. And what later happened was Robbie and John, they went off and formed their own group, the Butts Band, with the singer that they wanted, and Ray didn't. So they had a farewell performance in 1973 and the Doors were done. Considering what they had to work with, Other Voices is not a bad album. I like this album. Do I like it as much as the other albums with Jim on them? No. I mean, they tried their best. In the Eye of the Sun is a good song. Variety is the Spice of Life is okay. Ships with Sails is good. Tightrope Ride might be my favorite on here. Down on the Farm is okay. I'm Horny, I'm Stoned is fun. Wandering Musician is okay. And then it ends with Hang On To Your Life, which is amazing. Or some of these songs I can't imagine Jim singing them. Between Ray and Robbie, I think Ray obviously had the stronger voice. I do remember at the time when Ray passed away, Robbie did say in some sort of podcast, he said, well, Ray and I weren't very good singers, but we tried. They tried, but I mean, Ray's a good singer in his own right. Robbie's okay. Ray is a good singer in his own right, but then again, he's not Jim Morrison. But again, they tried their best, and for what it is, Other Voices is not a bad album. Full Circle, on the other hand, this one falls a little bit more on the weak side. Again, now I have with Other Voices I like. With Other Voices, I actually kind of like. This one, not as much. No. Yeah, this is a pretty weak album, but again, there are some good songs on here. The interesting thing about this vinyl copy I have here, I got this in Wilkes-Barre when I was my first year in college. But the reason why this was $25 because it still has some of the inserts here. And one of the cool inserts that it has here for Full Circle is that, can I do this? No? Oh, wait. Yeah, it's got this cool sort of thing where it's like a zoetrope, like one of the films that you turn the thing around. Yeah, it's like a cardboard sort of cutout, and then you put it together, you put it on your turntable, and then you see the evolution of man. Neat idea. Neat idea. Too bad the music's not that great, but nah, there's some good songs on here. The songs are in here. Let's see here. Get Up and Dance. Corny, but it's still good. 4 Billion Souls is okay. Vertilac is actually kind of funky. Hardwood Floor is pretty corny as well, but I could easily imagine Jim singing that one. Good Rockin' is filler. The Mosquito is fun. The Piano Bird, best song on here, my favorite song. Slipped My Mind, decent, pretty good compared to some of the other. One of the better Robbie songs on this album. And then the album ends with The Peking King and the New York Queen, which I really don't care about. I'm sorry. I just really don't. Pretty weak way to end the album. So it's all over the place, this one. But again, there are some good songs on here. So if I had to pick 4 good songs, or 4 favorites, or 4 or 5, I'd pick Get Up and Dance, Vertilac, Hardwood Floor, The Mosquito, and The Piano Bird. Now, when the Doors albums came out on CD for the first time in the 1980s, they did not include the 2 albums without Jim. I read in an interview that Robbie Krieger gave, I think last year, and he explained that, according to him, he said that they really didn't think that people would be interested in having those 2 albums on CD. But it turned out the fans really wanted them, and starting in 2005, they were planning on doing that. And finally, in 2015, last year, the 2 albums were released in a 2 CD pack here. So this is the first time ever that the albums came out legally. There is no remixing or anything like that. The albums are newly remastered by Bruce Botnick, and they sound pretty darn good on here. So yeah, these have replaced the vinyl rips that I've had for years. 5 years after breaking up, the Doors came back together to record another album. However, this time around, it was going to be a little bit different. They had discovered some poetry that Jim had recorded on his last birthday, which would have been December 8th, 1970. So he just sat in the recording studio and read some poetry, and that was it. So the Doors found that recording, some 8 years later, and they decided to record new music to it. And that album is called An American Prayer. I'm not a big fan of this album. As some call this, it's sometimes considered a Jim Morrison solo album, but my logic is, well, when you got Jim Morrison on there and you got the Doors doing the music, you put those four guys together, that's the Doors. So I guess this could be considered their 9th album, but of the albums that the Doors have released, yeah, this is my least favorite. And it's not even very good poetry. I mean, let me say this about Jim, okay? Jim, he always considered himself a poet. I think if he had to choose, he would choose to call himself a poet first and then a musician. And the guy released some books. I mean, reading some of his stuff, he was a very good poet. In terms of favorite songs, if you can call them that, Ghost Song I like. I like that. And then there's an extended one called The Ghost Song. So that's a good one too. So I like Ghost Song. Black Polished Chrome is okay. The movie is, there's a live version of Roadhouse Blues on here for some reason. The Hitchhiker. It's really hard to remember any of these because it's mostly just poetry. I mean, mind you, the music isn't that bad, but did we really need this? No. The poetry's not even that good. I mean, some of this poetry is really weird. I'll read some of it for you here. My friends drove an hour each day from the mountains. The bus gives you a hard-on with books in your lap. Another one here. Lament for my cock, sore and crucified, I seek to know you. I'll stop there. I don't know if he was really horny that day, or I don't know what the hell was going on his last birthday, but whatever it was, I don't think it needed to see the light of day. Sorry, Jim. But it's worth at least one listen. Alright, the last thing I want to show CD-wise is a set that was graciously given to me by a friend from the college radio station. There was one other thing I wanted to get to in terms of CDs. It was in 2012, during Christmas. It was in 2012, around Christmas time, when I got this. This was given to me by a friend over at my college's radio station, and it came by surprise because they were doing a little bit of a Secret Santa sort of a thing with the people who were staff. But I hung around there all the time, so I got a few little gifts from some of the people there, but this was a bit unexpected. The Doors, the complete studio recordings. Now, this is the box set that they released when the 1999 reissues came out. When I took it out of its bag. So I was sort of on the spot when I took it out of its bag and I looked at it, and they just wanted to know, do I have it? So I just said, well, I do own all the Doors albums on CD, but there are versions of 2 albums on here that I do not own. And one of the girls went, good enough. So I said, but I'll take it. Yeah, thank you. But the thing I wasn't expecting, I had no idea. I only thought that it had the CD. I thought it came with, you know, these in the dual CD cases, but it doesn't. All the discs in here are in mini LP packaging, so it's like a small record. So I'll just show it for this one with taking the CD out here. So see, there's the inner sleeve, and then it's like a tiny record. Here's Strange Days, Waiting for the Sun, Soft Parade. Whoop. Just fell off there. Morrison Hotel. Just that. LA Woman. Remember when I was talking about the vinyl for LA Woman and the original packaging? Wish these were a little looser here. That's my only complaint. See, it's like a silhouette, and the yellow is the sleeve. And there is one other disc in here, Essential Rarities. It says on here, Rarities, the best of the 97 box set. As I was looking into this, the person who gave this to me said, oh, there's one disc missing. This was the one missing. And of everything in the set, this was the one I didn't have, but it doesn't matter to me. I was glad it wasn't Waiting for the Sun or the Soft Parade, because those are the ones I was actually planning on repurchasing, because I had the 80 CDs. So, and also with the box set is a booklet with some liner notes about each album, and some pictures of the band, and I think, yeah, lyrics. Yeah, this is a really nice set, and I don't know what the rarity of this set is. I think it's pretty rare. I remember it back in the day going for $100, but I think it's a bit cheaper now. I don't know by how much, but if you're new to the Doors and you want to get the first 6 albums in one shot, pick this one. All right. Along with having the Doors on CD and vinyl, I do have the Doors on DVD. Which order should we go in here? I'll go in order by DVD release. Now the first DVD I have here is an absolute must. If you like the Doors and you want to have some audio-visual to go with it, I highly recommend getting this. Doors Collector's Edition. During the 1980s, MCA and Universal released 3 home videos of the Doors. 2 of them consisted of promotional videos, while the other was the Hollywood Bowl concert. This disc has all 3 of them on there. All 3 of them on here, and there are some wonderful bonus features on here. This is the Essential Doors DVD. But that's just me. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful DVD. In 2012, they re-released the Hollywood Bowl Show, which I didn't really get at first because it was on the other DVD I just showed you. But with this one, it's the complete show. But that should be with an asterisk. Technically, 2 songs were missing on here. Hello, I Love You and The Wasp. The reason why they were missing from here was because there were some problems with the audio. So, there's a bonus feature about it here. What they ended up doing was they used the video footage, but they took a soundboard recording of Jim from a live concert that they had in their archives that came not too long before or after the Hollywood Bowl shows, and they had it synchronized with the video here. There are some special features on here, some interviews with Ray and Robbie, and some of the opening acts, because their concert at the Hollywood Bowl was a pretty big deal. The last Doors DVD I have is one that came out in 2014 called A Feast of Friends. This has some history behind it. A Feast of Friends is a documentary that Jim Morrison made in 1970 and had screened around the area and never received a home video release. And it's a movie about the Doors. It's a documentary of them behind the scenes or on the road performing. And I just remember watching this and thinking, I've seen this footage already. It's true. I have seen this footage already. Most of the Jim's movie was later used in promotional videos and what have you. So this does have Jim's movie on it, but once you watch it, it's really not that special because it was kind of disappointing because it was stuff that we had already seen before. The thing that does save this is there is a special feature on here called A Feast of Friends Encore, and there's some good 30 minutes of additional footage that them hanging out. The only one other thing I can say is that I was lucky enough to see Ray and Robbie when they were Riders on the Storm. They later changed their name to the Manzarek Krieger Band. Their singer was Brett Scallions from Fuel, and it was in September of 2008. My mom and I went, and it was a lot of fun. It's the closest thing to seeing the Doors. I mean, people can go and complain all they want about, oh, Jim's not there, it's not the same. I'll take 2 out of the 3 surviving members than none. And it's a good thing because now Ray has passed away. So, yeah, Ray was such a funny guy. And that concert in particular was pretty funny. They were cracking all sorts of jokes. For some reason, Ray, he looked out into the audience. This was like in I think it was in the Borgata or some sort of a resort casino sort of a place. And I guess Ray was looking out there and he saw a chair and he said, "That's a chair that looks like it's from a Don Ho show. Bring that up here." So they brought the chair up on the stage. And it's a really fun concert. Yeah, so I'm really happy and fortunate that I got to see Ray and Robbie. Everyone I know, Robbie is now touring by himself. If he got back together with John and they did something, I'd probably want to see it, just so I can see John live. So, yeah, that's about it for me. So, yeah, thanks for watching.